so these are games that we've played over the last few years together, and we are going to ruin our friendship and fight over where they belong.
I'm really excited to see where we think we put Ark Survival Ascended.
Yeah, no, I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah, and I'm still undecided.
This one belongs in the trash. I hated it. To the
Yeah.
point where it didn't even run properly.
It is Survival Evolved that doesn't run.
I mean, that's lucky. You guys even got to like run. Mine just was like, nah. You will never be able to run this game. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I had to turn everything down. It was awful.
I just want to check because like the one redeeming feature of it was it wasn't half a terabyte big.
No, but
that's not an exaggeration. But I'm wondering, like, because we played it quite a while ago now. Like, is it actually like creeping up? So it's now 111.
And when we first played it, it was about 75. So it's already gained nearly 30 gigs.
Exactly. Yeah. And they've only got like the first, is it the island and Scorched Earth?
I think so. I haven't looked into it.
Once they add all the rest of it, it will just boom up to the same size.
Yeah. Nah, this thing belongs in the trash. I think this is probably the only one we're all going to agree on as well. I'm excited to see where the rest go.
I'm very excited to see where the rest of them go.
Okay. I mean, while we're on the note then, maybe we jump to the other Ark game, Ark Survival Evolved.
Yeah.
Where would you put this? My gut feeling is somewhere here. Yeah, I feel like I'd go A tier. I mean, we got loads of hours out of playing it. You can do loads in it. The only reason I didn't put it in S tier is because it's like 300 and something gigs big, to the point where some people, I mean, Johnny even can't install the thing anymore.
It's more than that. It's like 440.
Really?
435.
Yeah.
As listed on Steam.
Out of all the games we played, it is very fun, but it is not. It has enough problems with it that I wouldn't put it at the top.
There are two main reasons why I wouldn't put it in S tier. I thought about putting it in S tier. But there are two reasons. Firstly, the file size, as we said. Secondly, losing all our dinos to lava.
Oh, that was so stressful. So yeah, we spent months getting all of the dinosaurs together, took them into the end boss bit, and it's my mistake because I should have set them up as like a bit of a train. So like one's following one, that one's following the other, but I made them all follow me and all of our T-Rexes just fell off into the lava.
But we had like 50 dinos or something. So it would have taken so long to do that.
But I think, the game's got a good story. That the fact that I can make a dinosaur strip club was just phenomenal. The creativity.
S tier, move it back.
Strip club tier.
Yeah.
But it's like being able to make castles on the hills, and we definitely got hundreds and hundreds of hours worth out of it.
Oh yeah.
I think the only thing stopping me putting it in S tier is just the fact that it's massive. And it's such a pain to install, but otherwise I had a great time playing that game. So we all settled on that Ark Survival Evolved goes in A tier.
I think I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, cool. Pick a game, Will.
Sea of Thieves is calling to me.
Again, we had a really good time playing this. The story was great, the exploration was great, the missions were good. Like, I really enjoyed playing it. I think it was just that element of not being able to play it locally, I think.
It was the online only PvP required thing that really turned us off it.
Which they have now fixed.
Yeah.
So that they do now have private lobbies that you can do. And to be fair, we haven't played since they've released those. I would put it in probably at least B. So bear in mind, we played this before Helldivers 2 came out. And before Helldivers 2 came out, there weren't that many dedicated online co-op games. They're all sort of like you can be co-op if you want, or you can equally be PvP. And I feel like Sea of Thieves encouraged more co-op, at least like within your crew, than it did PvP within your crew.
My only thing that I think that game is missing, which would have made me enjoy it more, is like a sense of progression and leveling up.
Yeah,
That's like
definitely.
everything is all just cosmetics, which
Yeah.
is the only thing that lets it down for me.
Yeah, because the only reason you have to play it is the
The
short
story.
tales. Then I can't really think what they would be able to add in terms of things that you could like buy in game that aren't cosmetics, that wouldn't just turn it into a numbers game of our team has better cannons, therefore we win.
Okay, I'd be happy to see a Thieves going in B tier.
Yeah.
I don't quite think it's on the level of Ark.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have the variety of content.
Yeah,
to
I'm just basing it purely off of how much we played it as well. Like, it's definitely up there.
What do you think, Johnny?
I didn't enjoy it as much as Ark. It's one of those. I think it's fun and it's a great idea, but the actual execution of it is just it's okay. I'm never like, oh my god, I need to play more Sea of Thieves. It's more like it's a fun world to hang out in and cause shenanigans.
And it's better than Skull and Bones.
Just throwing shade at Skull and Bones.
No
Yeah.
comment.
Okay, your turn, Johnny. Pick a game, any game you want.
Human Fall Flat.
Not that one.
Why?
Okay, go on, Johnny. Where would you put Human Fall Flat?
Genuinely might be a crazy wild one. I'm gonna put S tier.
Oh shit!
This is one of my
Okay.
favorite games that we've ever played together. I think it's hilarious. It's really
Interesting.
simple, but a great fun.
I think in terms of you're right. In terms of the simplicity, I mean, I made what was it that whore clown that wore fishnet stockings.
Oh,
Had some
God,
money. Like
yeah.
the character customization is wonderful. just the way they
Yeah.
run. It's such a joyful game to play as well. The way they waddle around and everything.
Yeah, I think what helps it as well is like the controls are really difficult and wild, but that's almost the point. So it's like in the way that it's janky actually plays into the kind of the type of game that it is.
And the other thing as well for me is like the freedom, like the fact that you can do the levels in so many different ways. So the way that I approach it might be completely different to the way someone else does. You're kind of limited by your own creativity.
And just the variety of mechanics as well in it.
Yeah, and all the community-made maps as well as the base ones as well. Like, there's lots to do in that game.
I'm gonna be controversial here. I wouldn't put it in S tier. Purely for the reason that I would never go out and play Human Fall Flat on my own. And so, while it is a very good co-op game, I think without the co-op element, it kind of falls flat.
Was that a pun?
You fucker.
I hate you. So you got Johnny
I
saying
think that's a really difficult way to categorize these games, though, because most of the games, the point of them is that they're co-op.
Yeah,
because I would say the same thing about 7 Days to Die, but then we'll get onto it. But then again, I have a lot of enjoyment when I'm in the world with you guys.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well for me is with Human Fall Flat specifically. My enjoyment of the game didn't come from the game itself; it came from playing it with you guys.
Interesting. So you almost got to separate the two.
Yeah, so I would rank my enjoyment with you guys in the game as sort of S tier, but I'd probably rank the game itself as probably B tier.
Oof. I feel like we're going to have to do this as like a vote.
I mean, I don't mind it staying S tier because, like I said, I rank S tier in regards to playing it with you guys.
I feel like I would side with Johnny in terms of it being S tier, just because if I think about the fun we had playing it, how good the recordings were, and the episodes that came out from it, it was one of the most fun games that we've played. Like, we've laughed more in this than we have in any other game we've played, I would think. Is it my turn to pick a game now?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to pick Among Us, and this might be controversial. I feel like edging between C or D tier. I think out of all the games that are there, it's probably the one I've enjoyed the least. Do you know what? I'm going to chuck it in D tier.
I would agree.
Oh shit, I did not think that was coming, okay.
Yeah, in a surprising turn of events, Will and Ben agree on a listing.
God damn. I think
Weird. I'm going to be the outlier here. I'd say more C. I wouldn't be like, no, that's terrible. Put it right at the bottom.
I mean, it could
But I do
be
think
in
it has its faults.
Ark Survival Ascended's
That's
own
not
category.
no. That's not a
No,
tier
yeah,
of that's
no,
the
it's not
bottom.
that
That's
bad.
like you don't even fit on the scale. You're just
Okay, actually, no.
separate universe.
I'm going to throw a wrench in the works here. I would say Among Us is probably either D or B tier, depending on who you're playing with.
I guess.
It's very dependent on who you're with.
Yeah, because if you've got a group of like friends who know each other really well, and you've got like, say, 6 of you all playing together, you know each other, and you're being forced to lie and manipulate each other, then it becomes really interesting. But if you're playing with like people that you don't know, then it is sort of edging closer to Ark Survival Ascended.
Okay, I mean, we could meet in the middle and put it in C tier if you wanted.
Yeah, I think C. I wouldn't damn it completely, but I do think it's very dependent on who you're playing with.
Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe I was harsh. For me, I'd enjoy it more if people got to talk while you were playing it, which might be really controversial, but I just don't see the difference. Like, I think it would be more of a fun challenge trying to talk while you played it and avoid someone figuring out who the killer was.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Rather than playing it silently, that's what gets me. I'd rather chat to people. I think that's the only reason I would have put it in D tier. If they're the thing where you could play it. I mean, you could play it while you're talking.
The one thing that surprised me about Among Us, I am a terrible liar. I have a really obvious tell when I lie, which is
you giggle like a...
Yeah, exactly. I can't stop giggling. I swear there was at least one time where I was the imposter and I actually managed to pull it off. And I surprised even myself. I was having to like mute my mic to hide my giggling and then pull myself together. I mean, like, yeah, no, I think it was John, or no, I think it was Ben. The funny thing about it
not denying it
was the surprise in everyone's voices of my betrayal. As if no one expected, and I was like, yes. Because I think everyone was expecting me to laugh.
You normally
for that feeling alone, then you have to put it in not D.
Yeah.
Damn, we've got one in each category so far. It's Will's turn to pick a game now.
Ooh. Plate up?
You get first vote, where would it go?
I would put it in either A or S, depending on what you guys think.
I like it because it's somehow a less stressful version. I think the stakes aren't as high as when you're playing Overcooked, but it's like a good amount of stress where it's still fun and like screaming at each other and having a laugh.
See, the problem for me is now we've got other games in here. Like, I'm basing this on, did I enjoy Plate Up as much as I enjoyed Ark? No. Did I enjoy it as much as I enjoyed playing Sea of Thieves? No. Like, for me, I would drop it down to probably C tier. Like, it's good, and there are moments that are really funny, like when we're waiting for orders to come out and we're screaming for you, and you didn't make a noise because you were pissing yourself laughing that the whole kitchen had gone up in flames. There's the way you were there silent. Like, well.
See, this is the thing. I wasn't silent. That was the one and only time where I muttly laughed. And I've never muttly laughed before. And my mic just wasn't picking it up. So I couldn't breathe. I couldn't make any audible sounds to alert you guys at all. That's what that was.
Yeah, it's the fact that there was no noise, but your little hot dog avatar was just running around the kitchen trying to put out fires.
Wasn't it like you're like, Will? And then you just look down the corner of the screen and the whole place is on fire.
Yeah. Like, I have a fairly big monitor in front of my face, and I was just looking at you and I. And it's only when I finally moved my head to look down at the kitchen and just saw it was all engulfed in fire, and he hadn't made a single noise. In the moment where everything was spiraling, he didn't make a sound. But yeah, for me, I don't think it would be fair for me to say that I enjoy playing this as much as I enjoyed playing Ark.
No, that's fair.
So you're saying A. I would say C. What do you think, Johnny?
Genuinely, I think it's a really enjoyable game. It's a different type of enjoyment, but I would say I'd enjoyed it just as much as Ark. It's a different type of enjoyment. It's a strategically planning, fast-paced versus long game building something kind of experience, but I enjoy them on the same level.
Fair enough. I mean, it sounds like it's a 2v1, so I'm happy to leave it in.
The reason I put it in A is because of the number of times where we've asked each other, hey, do you want to play some Plate-Up? Compared to, hey, do you want to play some Among Us, for example?
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's a 2v1. I'll happily leave it in A. Well, I won't happily leave it, but I'll leave it in A tier, you heathens. Right, Johnny, you're up. Pick a game.
I'm just going to get the easy ones out of the way. Portal 2 S.
Oof. God dang.
Oh, damn.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think I...
Triple, quadruple S
I think
tier.
I agree. As a massive fan of like anything Valve, so all the Half-Life Portal games, I love them to bits. And the fact that this is co-op is
I think
just
the
amazing.
co-op is really well done in this game as well. So I just think it's the way that you're kind of limited to communicate using the little. You have the option of you can use the little pointers and stuff, or you can like use your voice. And it's just really fun solving those really complex puzzles together. I think they're just really well designed.
I think I would agree with you. What do you think,
Will? I love puzzle games, so
this is where I'm going to be the controversial one now.
This is where I'm going to kick you from the Discord call.
Yeah, no, it probably is.
Get out.
If you say anything less than A tier, I'm going to arrive at your house and just pinch your nipple.
Just enough. Just enough to annoy you.
Just with the tip of my nails, right?
Okay.
On that lip tip, give it a little pinchy.
I feel like I have to justify this first.
Oh, 100% you have to justify this.
So before I give my answer, I'm gonna say the reason why I'm gonna give this rating is the same flaw as with all puzzle games, which is the main enjoyment of it comes from figuring out the solution. Once you've played the game once, you know the solution, and in my mind, it becomes less enjoyable.
Oh, I don't
that's
agree.
Your problem is you have a very good memory. I have a terrible memory, so after a year, I've forgotten all the puzzles.
Yeah, if I was to play...
it's a whole new game for me.
If I was to play this game right now, I'd tell you I wouldn't be able to remember any of the puzzles.
Yeah.
Oh no, see, I remember most of them. And so, because of that, I can feel Ben on the fucking kick button.
This sounds like more of a you problem. We're revealing your own flaws here.
I do get the
would
thinking.
Put it at B tier.
Yeah, it's weird. You almost got to go. You've got to look at this of: did you enjoy playing it, or would you pick it up and play it now? I think those are two very different things.
Yes,
yeah.
and yes.
Change how I do a lot of the scoring.
But
to be fair.
That's easy. I'd play it now, and I loved it.
But I mean, if we were to take that approach with the entire list, I think it would change some of my decisions.
But so the other thing as well to bear in mind is, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from this, particularly from Ben.
Say what you need to say, bitch.
I'm not a particularly big fan of the Valve games.
See, if I wasn't recording, I'd kick your ass out of here.
No, I want an explanation.
This sounds like a you problem.
I appreciate mechanically what they've done and their contributions towards the gaming industry as a whole, but they're just not the games for me.
Tell me another game that's like Portal 2. Exactly. Right. I mean, look, we've got to make a decision here.
And I'm happy for it to be in S tier. It's just I
make poor decisions.
If it were my own personal list, I wouldn't be putting it in S tier.
I mean, we've got to do this off the three of us. If you disagree, then maybe we could bump it down to an A.
I would say let's bump it down to an A based on one sole fact, and that is the two-player can only be two people.
Yeah,
fair
also
enough.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Blimey. Is it my turn to pick a game?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm going to pick 7 Days.
Okay, yep, fair.
And
how dare you?
For me personally, I feel like you two are going to assassinate me in a moment. But for me personally, I'm trying to decide between S tier and A tier.
I
love 7 Days.
I know where you're going to put it.
Okay. I'm going to start in S tier purely because I love the game. I love all the upgrades you can have. I love the world. I love the variety of zombies. I love how everything can break and fall apart. You know, you blow up the corners of a building, the whole thing will come down. Like, it's so... The world is so interactive. And in terms of you surviving a horde every 7 days, like, it's got, you know, a level of challenge that you're always working towards. Big variety in gameplay in terms of how you build your base and how you approach it. The only thing that makes me think I could knock it down from an S tier to an A tier is the fact that there's no main storyline, but they're meant to be addressing that in like the next alpha build. So I'm going to start up here and then let you two challenge me.
I think it's a really good game. I think it's fun. It's got that level of you feel like you're leveling up and you're exploring. My main thing is I feel like you run out of things to do quite quickly and it just becomes more of the same. Whereas like with Ark, for example, you go into a whole new biome and you have a whole new challenge and whole new, what's it called, like creatures to tame and items to find and stuff like that. Whereas I feel with that game, it's very, you find a lot of the same generic stuff everywhere. And then when you do need one specific item, you're scouring half the map to find it because it could be in any of these randomly generated places as well.
Yeah, true.
So I would put it in B.
You'd put it in B.
Yeah.
I would agree with Johnny on this, to be honest. I was really only playing it because I was playing it with you guys. Like, my only motivation to play it was the fact that I was playing with you guys.
I'd say that too. I wouldn't play this by myself ever.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, it's got to be what the three of us agree on. I think it's another of those I will reluctantly accept a B tier.
I mean, I'd be happy to compromise and put it in A.
Yeah, I think I'd be happy to compromise and put it in A because the world is cool.
Yeah.
It just runs out of fun things
and
to do.
It does
quickly.
have, yeah, and it does have like a variety of stuff to do.
Yeah, like it does still have different biomes where you feel heat and cold and stuff like that.
And
I mean,
it's
there's some element of challenge.
Yeah.
You are right, though, in the sense
And
that it
it's-
doesn't have as much as Ark.
I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to keep it B. I think in
Okay,
terms of
yeah,
level
no,
of enjoyment, it's actually par with Sea of Thieves for me.
Yeah, actually, yeah, fair. Yeah. No, I'd agree
I'm
with
so
that.
sorry. And I'm breaking your heart.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
No, the thing is, I think what plays into this as well is I really want a good zombie end of the world game. I just don't think that's ticking the box for me. I want a zombie end of the world game that feels like Ark, but that's not quite hitting it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Makes
want
sense.
one that immerses me.
Yeah, in the same way that Ark makes me feel like I'm in some past world with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, fair enough. I will accept that.
So sorry.
It's fine. Just crush my feelings,
it
why
to-
don't you?
Who's it to pick now? Well,
I think it's my turn, isn't
yeah.
it? I want to pick Dying Light, but not because I have an idea for where I put it. I want to see where you guys put it because I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Can I go first?
Yeah.
I feel like, I think in terms of the story is really cool and the world is so immersive. You know, you've got big hordes of zombies or you can sneak around and parkour in a zombie game as well. Fucking grappling hooks and be able to fly between buildings and take zombies' heads off with a machete as you come down. Like the level of creative freedom that's in this game in terms of how you like approach how you're going to, you know, carry out a mission. Plus the expansion where you get buggies and, you know, even bows have all the different types of arrows and things like that. There's such a variety in this game.
And the
being able
crafting
to,
and stuff.
the crafting, being able to race with your friends to the top of a building and jump off the top of a building and try and land on a van and come up with silly parkour challenges and things.
Lure zombies into your friends just to piss them off.
Exactly. Being able to drop kick a zombie as well. I feel like just the combination of the parkour, the story, the weapon variety, I really enjoyed that game, and I loved playing it even more with you guys. For me, I would drop it in S tier. I would say it's a better zombie game than 7 Days, hands down.
Yeah, I was just about to say, with that kind of whole spiel I had about 7 days, this is leaning far more into that world of a more immersive, more like you feel like you're part of a world, not just a desolate wasteland. Like there's things to be found in the world. Your actions have consequences. Yeah, the story's really cool.
For me as well, like it's the immersion. Like I remember there's one specific
Pretty good
mission
game.
where you're in an apartment block and in the distance you can just hear a piano playing. It's playing Chopin's Nocturne in C sharp minor, and you could just hear that eerily playing as you make your way through this apartment complex, and it's terrifying, like sneaking your way around corners and checking you're not going to get jumped by it. It's so immersive. I think of all the games that I've played, that's probably one that I've had the most like immersive experience in. And again, then being able to do that with your friends is just, something else.
I can't point my finger on it, but I wouldn't put it in S, I'd put it in A. It's almost like the dream zombie game in my head is a weird combination of 7 Days and this, taking all the best bits out of them, put them together. But both of them are slightly lacking something. So I wouldn't want to put it in S tier.
Okay, I don't agree.
And also go back to that thing that Will said about, like he was saying before, it's not a game that I'm like, I would pick up now and be like, I want to play. It's one where I, thinking back of it, I'm like, that was a fun game and I had a fun time. Whereas like Human Fall Flat, I'm like, I would pick that up and play that right now because I know I would have fun with that.
I'm going S, Johnny's going A. What are you going for, Will, besides the D?
I'm going to piss Ben off and agree with Johnny.
Fuck's sake.
I think
I'm so sorry.
For me, Johnny kind of hit the nail on the head with my ideal zombie apocalypse game is a mashup of Dying Light and 7 Days. I think if you would take the combat and crafting from Dying Light and combine it with things like the base building and the like world interaction of 7 Days, then you would have a zombie game that I would play in perpetuity.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I will accept that, to be fair. It's a really good point, actually, about if you could do base building and you had more of a reason to want to play the main story over and over again. That's kind of like, that's what they tried to do with Dying Light 2, is make it so that some of your decisions had weighting and to give you that replayability. But for me, Dying Light 2 was awful. I think I'd be happy leaving Dying Light in A tier. Actually, you make some really good points. You've convinced me.
Okay, so seeing as we were just talking about two, like the zombie games, I guess the next natural one to try and tier is State of Decay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, where would you put it?
I think Johnny's probably the worst person to ask this. But I think Johnny played it with us like once, if that. It was mainly me and you, Ben, that played it. So, with State of Decay, I thought it was a decent game, but once you got into kind of the main gameplay loop with it, there wasn't much variety. It was just go out, clear area, gather resources, take resources back to base. I would have liked it a lot more had it focused more on like building up your base and maybe having some resource production inside your base.
I mean, there is a good deal of like base upgrade in there.
I feel like they just leaned into it more. Like, I don't know, make it more character driven, so I actually care about the bases. And wasn't a thing like if you want to go to a new area, you have to like basically restart your whole camp over from the beginning again.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense. Like you send a person over to establish a camp, and then you can transfer stuff over there. So I thought the idea was cool. I liked the world exploration. I like the different variety of zombies. I like searching for a place to make a base as well, and kind of deciding, this is going to be the place with the most like slots to build things in and so on. But I do agree with Will that once you kind of get into it and you've cleared a few places and done a few missions, it does get quite repetitive. But I like the idea as well that you've got a character and if they die, they're gone, kind of thing. So
I love that idea. I think for me, I would have preferred if it was more kind of like, again, as I said before, like The Walking Dead, in that like you go to a base, you recruit characters, you build up your, not necessarily your relationship with the characters, but like your understanding of them. So you get to know the characters, which then adds weight to when they die off. And if there was more of a focus on you have to build up your base's defenses to defend them, kind of like with 7 Days, of like you have a base, you go out to scavenge the resources that you can't produce inside your base, but there's more of a focus on you're building a base to defend.
I think it would be useful as well if each base had a certain perk or something like, just trying to think of like the later seasons of Walking Dead. I don't know why Walking Dead is like the big one that's taken that influence for this. But like
Yeah.
if you had, I don't know, there was one town and that one has like you build up a camp there and that one's like kind of like the primary like healing spot, and that has like it's producing a lot of like meds and stuff. So you go there to like set up meds and get medical resources to the other ones. Or like
Yeah.
one could be like primarily a fishing place or something, and then that gives you lots of fishing like, food and resources and stuff. It would be cool if it was like each base had a certain purpose and mattered differently. So when you make a new base,
Yeah.
it's not just chuck that aside and start again. It's more like you're building up societies and little things, and then each
Yeah.
character would matter, each base would matter, rather than just kind of chuck
Yeah.
that to the side and
And it's more
go
of a
get
case that
points.
you're using the bases you've already established to help you establish new ones easier.
Yeah, and like Ben was saying with the whole picking your favorite ones or like being strategic about which ones you pick and stuff, that would come into play so much more, rather than just being like, oh, I want this one because it has more slots. Like,
yeah, I think like in terms of the gameplay, I think it's very satisfying. Like all of the like kill animations and the shooting and the melee all feel satisfying. It's just that gameplay loop which kind of makes long-term like gameplay fairly repetitive and mundane.
I mean, I've got a rank in mind. What do you think, Johnny?
let's put it in
Two
C.
for
Like,
C
we're
and
quite top heavy.
yeah.
Let's kind of transition out of zombies into cannibalism with the forest.
Okay, what do we reckon?
I will put it a B tier, going straight in with the ranking. I know that Ben's putting S tier. I'll put it in
That's
B
an
tier
interesting looking B.
because although we played it slightly less than Ark, like the Forest and Ark were probably the two main ones that we played in terms of game time together. I enjoyed the Forest less than Ark because it's a horror game. But I still very much, it was among the more enjoyable games that I've played with you guys.
Okay.
Despite it being a horror game.
I mean, for me, there's so much to unpick with this game. The story's brilliant. You know, you just fall down on this island, your son goes missing. The exploration is great, coming across the cannibal camps, coming across a massive hole in the ground, having to find key cards, you know, pictures to help you solve problems. Like, there's so much problem solving to do in the world and so many hidden things you can find. I mean, we never even found the pistol that you can get if you find all these different, like, map pieces.
I mean, there's a massive hole in the ground which apparently just absorbs some trailers full of logs.
Yeah, there are a couple of bugs, but that's one of my best memories. It's one of the best memories I have of us gaming is when our log sled did a 360 in the air and then just pinged into the hole. I have to see if I can like find the footage and put it over it.
I think I've got it as a Twitch clip.
Oh yeah, probably. For me, I'd say I enjoyed playing the forest probably just as much as Ark. Like, if it were me, I'd put it in A tier, but just because it ticks all the boxes. It's a brilliant survival game. It's got a great story, a great variety of enemies, immersion when you're in the caves and you can't see and you've got these things coming towards you, like world interactivity. I think it has loads.
I think as a counter to that, the only thing I would say doesn't have as much content as Ark does. Ark has the advantage of you having different arcs you can go to that have significantly different environments. So you have like Scorched Earth, which is like the desert one. You've got the one which is like almost entirely underground. You've got the island, you've got Ragnarok, you've got Crystal Isles, which adds a lot of variety, whereas with the forest, the disadvantage of that is there's only one map, and there's no randomness to that map. So you will always find the same points of interest in the same locations.
I've got a crazy idea. So looking at everything that we've got to go through, and the fact that we have nothing in D tier, I can anticipate that we're going to put a lot in A. So what I'm thinking is that B tier and C tier get bumped down one, and then the forest go in new B tier.
I'm kind of with Johnny. I wouldn't be against moving these two down.
Yeah, it seems harsh ranking them just above Survival Ascended.
But remember,
At
this
the
isn't even
same
a category.
time.
This is just the trash bag that's at the side of all of
Yeah.
this. It shouldn't even be here. It's a privilege it's even on our screen.
Yeah, fair.
So I'd move these down, and then...
Move those two down.
Oh,
Yeah,
I feel
no.
like-
I know.
Wait, you're...
we can rediscuss.
Ah!
I would say that I enjoyed the forest more than 7 days.
So you're saying move those two down?
And then the forest will go in B tier.
Oh, I don't know if I
Yeah.
agree with 7 days being here, though.
Only because we're going to have a huge A tier, and then, like, what's the point?
I'm almost with Ben on this.
Okay,
in
that's
that
fine.
Yeah,
I think
2v1,
7 Days
bitch.
deserves B, which I know is a controversy in itself, me agreeing with Ben. But
I'm cool with that. But yeah, I just definitely think that we're not going to use D tier.
Yeah.
So.
I think Sea of Thieves at Sea is fair enough because the content did get boring.
Ha! Sea of Thieves.
Oh, mother.
It's going to be the only one in there, isn't it?
No, I know another one that I'm going to put in C.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've got 2 guesses what it's going to be.
I know that you're not going to agree with me.
No, I'm not.
It's your turn to pick anyway, Ben.
Was it my turn to
I
pick?
know both.
Ooh, the choices, baby. What one do I want to pick? I'm going to go with House Flipper.
Oh,
And
fair.
it's exciting because even I don't know where I'm going to put it yet.
Oh.
I'm thinking, if I think to myself, because I genuinely don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but if I think to myself, we had lots of fun playing it, coming up with the different build challenges. We had the Christmas house renovation competition. You know, I spent hours on this game doing houses in so many different ways, and it's not S tier. It's not S tier, and it's not D. It's going to go somewhere in here.
I've got a useful decision maker for this one.
Okay.
I'm going to put it B tier purely because it doesn't have co-op.
I was gonna, I'd agree with Johnny
I
on
think
that.
If it had co-op, I think it
Yeah.
might even be S tier.
I would
but-
agree with that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. If you could actually
It's the
play
one thing
together.
holding that game back. But it is a really fun game, and you can just you can set little challenges and
The thing that I'm noticing with this is that a lot of the sandboxy games are ranking higher. Like House Flipper, it's more you create your own fun.
Exactly. So I think, we've had loads of great times playing that game. Loads of content, lots of replayability. And they've added on it loads with the VR game that you can buy. House Flipper 2 is built on this massively as well. But yeah, I agree. Because of no co-op and it not being built in any way, I kind of agree chucking it in B. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Whose turn is it now? Is it Johnny?
yeah, crazy idea. I'm gonna go for Raft in S, just because we don't have much up in S, and I feel like we had a lot of fun playing that game.
Ooh, okay.
Debate.
See,
Counterpoints.
the thing is, I can't pinpoint the reason why.
Oh, I can. I've got one great reason.
I don't know why I don't think that it deserves to be an S tier.
I think for me, like I love how Raft works in the sense of like you've got a place to follow on your little satellite thing, and you go there and you explore and you find all the clues to help you figure out where to go next. And I quite like that kind of gameplay loop because they released all the maps as we were playing it, didn't they? Or like they released all the different POIs as we were playing, so we always had more to come back to. And again, I love the creativity and being able to build on your raft and me and you fighting over who the captain's quarters belong to, which obviously were mine. And,
mine.
but there are some things in the game that just really pissed me off as well. And the two that I remember, spoilers as well here, you only unlock, what's the highest tier of tool you can make?
Like titanium.
Is it titanium? So
yeah.
you unlock titanium tools after the end cutscene for the game, which means you only get the higher tier of stuff when you're not going to bother playing anymore. And that really annoyed me, was getting right to the end and going, cool, I've unlocked this, but what's the point now because I've finished it and I'm not going to play anymore. That was the first thing that was just like real...
But was it actually locked behind story stuff? Or was it just we only had unlocked it by that point?
I think it's a story. I might be wrong, but I think it's a story thing.
No, I
And I
think
think-
you're right. I think it is a story thing.
We only unlocked it at the very, very end after we did the very final bit. I remember getting the final cutscene, and then, you've unlocked these tools, and I was like, well, what's the point?
Well, that's always a problem with video
Mm.
games, though. Of when do you reward your top content? Is it just before the end of the story or just after? Because there should be a
Yeah.
reward for completing the game, but at the
'Cause
same time,
you-
there
You've
should
got
be
nothing to do afterwards.
yeah.
Literally, like, what's the point in
Once
having
you
these
have
things
it,
when you've got
what do you do
nothing to
with
do with them? Yeah. The other thing that annoyed me, it's a really minor thing, but it's just sort of game design. It really does my tits in when you're thirsty or hungry, and one moment you're fine, yeah, you're in the middle of an island somewhere, and then your bar just goes over the threshold, and suddenly your character's like, brrr, and they're just like limping around the place, and it takes you ages to get back to the raft. It's like, come on, you can't go from running, jumping around to like crawling your way back to the raft. That always
that
annoyed
happens in
me.
Ark as well, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't slow you down or anything like that. You just get like a red thing around your screen and eventually you'll die. But on this, your character just keeps making that fucking noise. They're like, "Bleh, bleh," as they're like waddling their way and can't move. And it's just so frustrating. There are so many moments from where we played it where I was just angry because it took me ages to get back somewhere. I get it. I just don't like that you go from being fine to fucked in a second.
I mean, I feel like that on every survival game we've played, so I'd put them all in C tier if that was the case.
So, I guess for me, I wouldn't think that this is S tier.
I'm happy to put it in
things
A tier, actually, just because I've thought of something that Will said previously, which is with like puzzle games, once you know the solution, the fun's gone. And with Raft and being such a story-driven game, yeah, I would like have to wait a couple of years before I ever went back to it because I wouldn't have fun with it right now. I'd just be like, oh yeah, that's how you solve that puzzle. It's a play it once, you've solved all the mysteries.
So we're all settled on A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Okay. Who's next? Is it you, Will?
Yeah.
Pick the controversial one. You've got two.
Let me show you what.
It's gonna be Phasmophobia.
Let me show you what he's gonna do. He's gonna take this, and he's gonna think about putting it here, and then he's gonna go. But wait, I didn't enjoy playing that as much as I enjoyed playing Sea of Thieves because it's a horror game. He's gonna drop it here. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Damn.
No, so okay. In fairness, I enjoyed being the white van man
As always.
in Phasmophobia. But it is probably the most terrifying horror game out of the ones we've played. And we all know I have the bravery of a saint, just like Ben has the patience of a saint. So for me, the amount of enjoyment I get out of it is limited because I'm not brave enough to step outside my van, which limits me to a support role, and I'm still terrified. If you guys hadn't suggested that we play it together, it's not a game that I would have ever even bothered buying.
As much as it pains me, because I feel like we have had a lot of fun in this game,
You're not.
I think I'm going to put it in C tier as well.
Okay.
Just because there are times where you can get soft locked in the game, and they've added loads more content, made the game so cool. But if anything, that's just made it more difficult because now it could be so many different ghosts and ghouls that when you have two bits of evidence and you just can't find that third, you're just making a blind guess because you just don't know anymore. And that's really frustrating after you've put in, say, like 40 minutes of exploring and dodging and people dying and stuff, and then you're just kind of like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah, because we've had moments.
It's really frustrating.
We've had moments where you just, like you say, we can't find anything. We're not getting any ghost orbs. We're getting, I can't remember what else there is. I haven't played it in that long, but yeah, there are moments where you just don't get anything.
Yeah, and that's not down to skill. It's down to we've tried everything. We're not getting anything back.
Did you ever settle on which one you'd put it in, Will?
I mean, me personally would put it in D tier, but for the fact that I play it with you guys. So I'd be happy for it to go in C tier if you guys feel it should go in C tier. But if it was me judging on my own, it would be a definitive D.
Okay, so you're going D, Johnny's going C. I think if I put aside moments where you get soft locked and things like that, it's one of the most immersive games I think I've ever played, and it's one of the most frightened I've ever been in a game. And a lot of games, I play a lot of horror games, most games haven't ever managed to do that to me. But in this game, it's the sound design. It's the moment you step into a house and everything goes numbingly quiet, and you can just hear things in the distance. Oh, it's so immersive. The sound design is great. It looks great. The mechanics are great. The different tools you've got. I mean, it's tricky because for me, I'd probably put it in A tier. But if you guys are saying C, I'm happy to leave it here because I haven't played it as much as those. I don't think it's on the same tier as those, but it is a bloody good game.
Other games.
And if we all have to agree, then it sounds like C is going to be where it will go. So it has some problems, but it is a really good game. Okay, whose turn is it now?
I mean, it was going to be mine, but then we decided Phasmophobia should be next because you guys knew where I was going to put it.
You can have another one for free if you want. It's a gesture.
So I teased a little bit during the playtime evaluation. I feel it's time to pull the trigger on that. I would put Tabletop Simulator in S tier. I know that we've only played it properly once, but the amount of hysterics that I was in and Ben was in when we were playing that What Do You Mean game was probably the most I've laughed when we've played a game together. It is essentially a sandbox which allows you to play any card or board game or even tabletop game that you can think of, like like Warhammer and stuff. So it's got an unfair advantage of it isn't just one game.
That was going to be my thing about it.
Yeah,
it's like we almost shouldn't have chosen Tabletop Simulator. We should have chosen What Do You Mean? Because choosing Tabletop Simulator as a game on this list, it's gonna have to go at the top because it is so much more than just one thing.
Oh, see, I don't know if I agree with you two. I think it's great that there's something that lets you play all those games in one place. But almost what Johnny just said, it's not this that we like, it's the individual games themselves. So I could go out and buy What Do You Mean and we could play it and enjoy it. So...
But just the fact that it lets you play board games online with your friends from anywhere in the world, that's pretty impressive, pretty great.
It's the convenience of it more than anything else,
and the ways they immerse you in that world of you feel like you're sitting at a board game, at a table together playing a board game, and you can flip the table and you can turn your cards over and stuff like that. They've really thought about how those games need to work in a virtual space.
Mechanics-wise, you're right, isn't it?
So it's really clever.
Okay. All right, yeah, you've convinced me. Okay, that was quicker than I thought. Happy it goes in S tier. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Whose turn is it now?
It's either yours or Johnny's.
I can go and then you can have the last one if you want.
All right, cool.
Again, going with the longevity of it and stuff. Golf with Friends, B.
Oh, okay. Oh.
It's a good fun game, but it's simple and gets old kind of quick. But we just had a lot of laughs in it.
I think it is good. For me, I wouldn't say I've enjoyed playing this as much as I've enjoyed playing those.
Yeah,
if it were me, I personally would have chucked it in D.
I think maybe C then. I think I'd probably enjoy it just on par with Phasmophobia.
Really?
Was that a golfing pun?
No, but I like that.
You're both saying C.
Yeah.
But it's just golf.
A fun game, but it is a singular game. It's golf. And no matter how many maps or mechanics you introduce to it, at the end of the day, it's golf.
So you're telling me you enjoyed playing this as much as you enjoyed playing Sea of Thieves?
Yeah.
Really?
I would say it has probably roughly the same amount of content, which I know is going to anger a lot of people.
I mean, it's very cosmetics based as well, I think about it in that sense.
But also, the majority of the fun I had with both games came from playing it with you guys as opposed to my enjoyment of the game in its own right. Although with Sea of Thieves, I have more of a want or a drive to go and play it myself, although I haven't done in ages.
Okay, look, I don't agree with you both, but if it's a 2v1, then
it's more a C because I had a lot of laughs while we were playing it.
Okay.
If we hadn't laughed as much, it would be D.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
I'm blaming you for making me laugh during it, basically. So Ben, which game are you gonna pick?
Well, listen, it's hard to choose, but I'm thinking we move Ark Survival Ascended. No, I'm kidding. This one's tough because if I think about, like, I played this since I was in secondary school. So I've played this for years and years and sunk way too many hours into it and didn't speak to my parents for nights at a time because I would just be in my room chopping trees.
Are we talking about old school RuneScape?
Well, this is what I'm about to lead into. The problem for me, is because this encapsulates like where RuneScape has gone over the years. For me personally, I hate, like, I don't enjoy playing it now really at all. So if we split this into like old school RuneScape, I'd put up in S tier. I love it.
Yeah,
I have such nostalgic memories because of where it's gone and how it's developed. And people might not agree, and it's my fault for not playing it for ages. Would I say I enjoyed it playing as much as House Flipper 7 Days in the Forest? No. Would I say I enjoyed playing it as much as Phasmophobia and Sea of Thieves? Maybe. So for me, it's kind of floating somewhere between these two. I've got no reason to go back and want to play it. I don't really care about the quests. There are some great memes. What's the Gandalf one? The Grand Exchange, and some dude's dressed as Gandalf saying, was it 2 mil for the full fucking suck.
Someone's like, damn, Gandalf.
But again, that's not the game itself. That's just, for me now, I reckon it started so high as well, and it's just gone boop, 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 boop.
Another thing as well that I would add to that is it's all just automated now. It's like at least in the old school RuneScape, you had things like you have 3 different attack types, and different enemies were weak to different attacks from those attack types. You had to vary it up and stuff like that. So it was at least you had to put more thought into it.
Do you agree, Johnny, with it being D tier?
I mean, it was fun for 5 minutes, but I don't think I'm ever going to pick up that game again.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with it there.
I'd go back and play old school, but I hate new RuneScape.
Yeah, that's like I would only ever go back and play old school RuneScape. I wouldn't play new RuneScape.
The fact that I'm saying that I would never go back and play this
is making you want to go and play it.
No, it was making me think about putting it in the bin, but I'm just...
No.
I don't think it deserves the bin.
It doesn't deserve the bin because it actually works.
That's true.
It actually runs.
That's true. You can run RuneScape. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have a question to end on.
Okay.
Which is, does anyone watching this agree with our tiering? And are there any other games, bear in mind multiplayer games, which you would put into this tiering system, and if so, where?
They might even agree with me and see sense that these 3 should be S tier. Who knows?
Or they may be of sound mind and not.
Hi, Editing Ben here. When we finished the recording, I realised that we never spoke about Minecraft. And since Johnny and Will aren't here to fight me on it, I'm just going to go and sneak this on into S tier, and there's nothing they can do about it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. It helps us out a lot. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.